Chapter 1. The night the storm brought, Abigail had just turned 7 years old, and her light brown hair, usually held back with a purple ribbon, was still frizzy from the excitement of her birthday party earlier that afternoon. She sat near her bedroom window that night, legs tucked under her, watching the sky rumble and flash. Storms always made her feel jittery and thrilled at the same time, like the world was shaking a giant snow globe and something magical might fall out. Rain drummed against the glass in quick bursts, and somewhere above the clouds, thunder rolled like a bowling ball across the heavens. Abigail rested her chin on her hands. If only something exciting would happen, she whispered to the storm, like in books, something impossible. As if the storm heard her, a bright silver flash tore across the sky, different from any lightning she'd ever seen. It spiraled downward instead of striking straight, twisting and shimmering like ribbon. Abigail jerked back from the window. The light wasn't hitting the ground. It was landing, right in her backyard. Her heart pounded hard enough to make her ribcage feel like a little drum. She grabbed her yellow raincoat from the hook, jammed her feet into her boots, and hurried downstairs. Her parents were asleep, and the storm was so loud she doubted they'd hear the creak of the back door. She slipped outside. The wind tugged at her coat and whipped her hair around her face. Rain splashed cold droplets against her cheeks, but she didn't care. She squinted toward the far corner of the yard. That's when she saw it, a glowing, wobbling shape in the wet grass. Abigail approached slowly. The glow faded, revealing brown fur, and a very large, very round creature lying on its back like it had fallen from the sky. A capybara? Abigail gasped. She had seen pictures of them before, giant guinea pig-looking animals from faraway places, but this one was wearing something. A tiny wizard's hat, navy blue, pointy, covered in gold stars. And beside its paw lay a wooden wand. The capybara blinked, shook its head, and sneezed. The sneeze sent a puff of glitter into the air. Oh dear! The creature exclaimed in a surprisingly squeaky voice. That landing was not in the manual. Abigail's jaw dropped. You can talk? The capybara slowly rolled upright, shaking off raindrops. Well, of course. Magic capybaras are highly verbal. It's in the job description. He cleared his throat, picked up his wand, and bowed. Well, as much as a capybara could bow. Stephen Bartholomew, Capybaras III at your service, but you may call me Steve. Abigail blinked rain from her eyelashes. Magic? Like actual magic? Steve puffed out his chest, round as it was, and gave his wand a shake. Absolutely. My magic is extremely powerful, extremely refined, extremely unpredictable. He flicked the wand at a puddle. The puddle immediately transformed into a small purple wiggling blob with googly eyes. It burbled, hopped once, then popped back into water. Steve coughed. Ahem, as I said, unpredictable. Despite the storm, despite her shivering hands, despite the utter impossibility of what she was seeing, Abigail burst into a grin. This is amazing. I suppose you could say that, Steve said, shaking his wand until it stopped sputtering sparks. Or you could say it's a bureaucratic nightmare. I wasn't even meant to come here tonight. The storm messed up the teleportation route. Typical weather, never checks the schedules. A clap of thunder shook the sky. Abigail crouched beside him. Do you need help? Well? Steve looked up at her with big, gentle eyes. I am supposed to meet a child who just turned 7. Magic protocol. Something about destiny and whimsy and all that, but my instruction scroll flew off during the descent. What did the child look like? Abigail asked. No idea, Steve said cheerfully. I was going to read the scroll, but then, poof, gone, so now I must locate a 7-year-old in this neighbourhood. Preferably one who doesn't mind capybaras that occasionally explode into sparkles. Abigail giggled. Well, today was my 7th birthday. Steve gasped so dramatically that his hat fell off. Yours, truly? Magnificent, splendid, serendipitous. He scooped up his hat and jammed it back onto his head. I seem to have found my human. Abigail couldn't tell if her feet were still touching the ground. A magic capybara, for her, on her birthday. She felt like she might float away. A wind gust shoved them both sideways. Steve steadied himself. Right, yes, introduction's complete. Now, magical bonding handshake. Handshake, Abigail repeated. It's a legal requirement. Steve held out his paw. Well, technically, it's a paw shake. Abigail grasped it. A warm, fizzy sensation shot through her fingers. The world around them glowed gold for half a second. Then pop, a shower of pink bubbles floated upward. There, Steve said with a satisfied nod. We're officially partners. One bubble drifted down and touched Abigail's nose. It smelled like strawberry jam. Thunder grumbled again, deeper this time. We should go inside, Abigail said. My parents will freak out if they wake up and see me gone. Ah, yes, Steve mused. Parents, mortals of great responsibility and frequent concern. Abigail wasn't sure if her parents counted as mortals in whatever magical language Steve used, but she wasn't about to question it. She led Steve across the yard. He waddled beside her, wand tucked under one arm, hat flopping with every step. When they reached the back door, Abigail slipped inside first, shushing him. Try to be quiet, she whispered. Steve took a deep breath. Quiet is my middle? Shh! Steve nodded, understanding. He tiptoed into the kitchen. His wet fur left little puddles on the tiles. Abigail grabbed a towel and started drying him off. My parents will ask too many questions if they see you. I'm very good at hiding, Steve whispered proudly. At that exact moment, the towel slipped, and Steve accidentally knocked over a stack of metal mixing bowls. They clattered across the floor like a brass band falling down a hill. Both of them froze. After a long, breathless silence, Abigail exhaled. Okay, maybe we should get upstairs before we break something else. Steve nodded vigorously. They crept up the stairs, Steve trying his best to be soft-footed. When they reached her room, Abigail shut the door carefully and flipped on her small bedside lamp. Steve looked around in awe. Ah, yes, a human child's chamber. Excellent acoustics, lovely poster selection, very good pillow density. Abigail giggled. You can sleep on the beanbag. She pointed to her giant teal beanbag chair in the corner. Steve climbed onto it like a king ascending a throne. Perfect. He adjusted his wizard hat, then set his wand beside him. Tomorrow we begin our magical partnership. Many adventures await, many spells, many... He yawned loudly, surprising even himself. Abigail yawned too. Outside, the wind softened. The rain quieted. The storm seemed to be calming now that it had delivered something wondrous. Abigail curled up under her covers and watched Steve nestle into the beanbag. Good night, Steve. Good night, Abigail. A gentle glow flickered from Steve's hat, casting soft star-shaped shadows on the walls. Abigail sighed happily. Her 7th birthday had brought her exactly what she'd wished for, something impossible. Little did she know, it was only the beginning.
Abigail danced in her polka dot boots, Steve by her side with his magic pursuits, a capybara with a sparkle and a twist, casting spells he could never resist. Oh Steve, the magical beast, a capybara wizard at every feast. With a twitch of his whiskers, the world takes a spin. Abigail laughs as the cast begins. They turn the moon into a big balloon, floated past the stars, landed in Cancun. Steve said hola with a magical grin. Taco shells rained and the party began. He wiggled his nose, the maracas shook. Abigail sang from her spellbound book. Oh Steve, the magical beast, a capybara wizard at every feast. With a twitch of his whiskers, the world takes a spin. Abigail laughs as the cast begins. They wiggled his nose, the maracas shook. Abigail sang from her spellbound book. Oh Steve, the magical beast, a capybara wizard at every feast. With a twitch of his whiskers, the world takes a spin. Abigail laughs as the cast begins. He made the rivers dance, the mountains hum, turned a pumpkin into a drum. Abigail said, Steve, you're right, my friend. Let's never let this magic end.